Chaitanya Charitamrita class, we're discussing Mahaprabhu's Leela of discovering Sri Radha Kunda 500 years ago. At that time, when Mahaprabhu came here, he arrived in Vrindavan on Kartik Purnima, at the end of Kartik, and stayed for 2 months for Posha Mas and for Magh Mas. And he toured all of the 12 forests in Vrindavan. First he bathed in the 24 bathing ghats in Mathura. Someday we'll do that. We'll go there. Maybe this summer we'll go there. We'll bathe in all 24 ghats and take a tour, have a yatra of Mathura. It's very nice. We'll go early in the morning, we'll book a boat at 5 a.m. We'll go to Mathura by boat. And then we'll book a car. I've done it once before. It's very nice. So here Mahaprabhu has discovered Radha Kunda and he's been reciting some beautiful prayers. 6 beautiful prayers in glorification of Radha Kunda. At that time, there was no name Radha Kunda. It was called Lupta Tirtha. It was hidden from everyone's perception, view and understanding. The Brajvasis, they're more concerned with their existence at that time. So that this area, of course, all the Brajvasis for the most part, the Brahmins, as today, also then, it was a very small settlement, of course, then, a few hundred people maybe. They all lived on the hilltop, the Tilaka Upar. And here in the lower parts on this side of the Govardhan Prikamar, this is called the Lower East Side. I was thinking that the other day that Prabhupada went to the Lower East Side to preach and establish his Islam in 1966. Because Manhattan, there's the west side. West side is where the rich people live, east side is where the poor people live. And uptown, and there's uptown and there's downtown. There's the east side and west side. So Prabhupada was downtown on the east side, East Village. So this is the west of the Prikamargas where the Brahmins live, and east of the Prikamargas where all the Chamaras, Bungis, Malis, etc., Hideshis, other assorted, questionable characters. the diggers and the derelicts, as they were saying, describing in New York. So I find it quite apropos that Prabhupada is being worshipped in the Lower East Side of Radha Kunda, and our ashram is in the Lower East Side. But Lord Chaitanya was not afraid to go to the Lower East Side, so he went there. He came to the Lower East Side of Radha Kunda. This is Aritagram 500 years ago, Aristagram, named after this Aristasura. And Bhaktisanta Saraswati says in his, in one article he wrote, commenting on his father's revelation, that Aristasura represents Adharma. And Bhaktisanta Saraswati wrote an article, it represents Aristotelism. Arista represents Aristotle. Aristotle was a famous Greek philosopher who was a mundane, materialistic, mechanistic philosopher, Aristotle. Well, he had some idea of the soul, but he's mostly he was a Sankhyaite, so to speak. So this, the speculative tendency of Gyan is destroyed by the destruction of Arista. So Lord Chaitanya's prayers, this is the prayer today we have. Yesterday we heard from the lips of Lord Chaitanya, he said that Se kunde je eka bar kare snan, ek bar kare snan, ek bar kare snan. Tanre Radha sama prema Krishna kare dhan. Prem Radha sama prema Krishna kare dhan. That Krishna will give a donation, he'll give charity, directly Krishna will give. So what is the most valuable, the Mahanidhi in Krishna's heart? The greatest treasure in Krishna's heart, the greatest treasure in Krishna's possession is Radharani, and Radharani's love. which means he'll give Radharani. So he's saying here, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, indeed, Lord Krishna, Radha Sama Prema Krishna Karidan. The Krishna gives charity of what? The ecstatic love like that of Srimati Radharani. To whom? Who receives this love? Ye kund ek bar snan kare snan, one who performs one bath in this waters of Radha Kund. And Acharya's Raghunath Das Goswami in his Radha Kundastakam, he explains, if someone takes one bath here in Radha Kund, then he gets this type of prem, he gets gopi prem in the mood of the manjaris, because the manjaris are also bathing here and the Sakhis are bathing here to serve Radharani. And so all of their bhavas are there. Radha Kund is full of gopi bhav, gopi premamrita. Radha Kund is gopi premamrita, it's the nectar of gopi prem, gopi bhav. And then another meaning, sometimes acharyas say to bathe in Radha Kund, in the waters of Radha Kund, means to bathe in the rasas. To not only bathe this physical body like elephant bathing in the river, then rolling in the dust of material desire, or mundane ambitions after the bath, and many people bathe in Radha Kund, but it's the body bathes but not their heart. The heart and mind are not bathing in the bhavas of the gopis and the rasas. Because Sara means water, Sara. You've heard of Saraswati? Saraswati means the river of knowledge or something like this. There's some connection between Saraswati and the word Sara. So Sara means water, but Sara is two Sanskrit words, rasa. So that bathing in the rasa, you're bathing in a Sara which is full of Radha ras and Sham ras. And when we receive when we only receive the Sara falling off our bodies, then there's some bhakti sukriti. And if we have the qualifications, then possibly one bath in Radha Kund, then we can get this gopi bhav, gopi prem, that Lord Chaitanya is offering here, that indeed Krishna gives ecstatic love, Radha Sama Prema, just equal to Radharani's love, ek bar snan kari. So we may ask ourselves, I bathed once or twice, or so many times in Bhavalastami or whatever. It doesn't seem that my heart is full of love that's equal to that of Radha's, or even a fraction of the love of Radha, or even a bas of the love of Radha. So therefore, why? The question comes, why? Krishna's words are true, they're powerful, they're correct, they're truth, absolute truth. He's saying that indeed Krishna gives dhan, charity. But in Shastra, when it's talking about charity, there's charity in the three modes of nature, according to the giver and the recipient. And there's also rules of charity, when charity is to be given, who is a suitable candidate, what is the adhikar of the recipient, and what is the mode of nature of the giver. There's sattvic dhan and rajasic dhan and tamasic dhan in chapter 17 of Bhagavad Gita. And other places in Gita talks about charity in the mode of ignorance, tamasic dhan and rajasic dhan. So therefore, when receiving boons or benedictions from the Lord, then what the Lord is certainly qualified to give charity. He's Lakshminath, he's Premnath, he's Prananath, he's every Nath, Jagannath. Every Nath is the Lord, he's the Lord of everything. Bhutanath, Jivanath, everything. He's the Lord and controller of everything. So he's qualified to give, but what is our qualification to receive? So there are three qualifications to receive the fulfillment or benedictions or boons or blessings that are offered, or the charity given by Shastra, in this case Krishna. how will we be qualified or have the adhikar to receive this charity, Krishna Karidhan, that Krishna wants to offer? You say, you just take one bath. Just like if it's molten gold, you have a molten gold pot, you take a copper coin and you treat it with something. If you just dip it in one time in a molten golden pot and hold it for a few seconds and pull it up, then it'll be gold plated. And copper will be gold plated. It will appear like gold. It is gold plated. And if you do it more times, it becomes more fixed. That's how they make kalashas on temples. They're copper, unless they're very wealthy temples. And usually they're copper and then they're gold plated. The more plating, the more brilliant and the more lasting. I saw one temple in South India, and they had, the dome was in Balaji temple. They have a gold dome, gold plating. But it was like 100 lakhs of gold on the dome. That was way back then. It wasn't solid, it was design. So that's an example. One snan and is gold plated. So we should take one snan and be gopi bhav, plated with gopi bhav. We should be coated. Our hearts and minds should be coated. Are they? Maybe not. Maybe not. So then what's missing is that we don't have the qualification. So the blessing is there that one will get this bhav of Radharani, this gopi bhav of prema that's in Radharani's heart. But what is the adhikar? What does the recipient have to have? Because Krishna is saying, Ye kunde, se kunde ye eka ba ek bar karisnan, tanre radha sama prema Krishna karidhan. Ek bar snan is very simple. One time, ek bar snan in this kund, Radha Kund. These are Lord Gauranga's prayers to Radha Kund when he discovered Radha Kund, 6 prayers. So he's saying if someone takes one bath in Radha Kund, then it's Radha Sama Prema Krishna Karidhan. Radha Sama Prema Krishna Karidhan. Dhan, that Krishna gives the charity of prema equal to the love, that Radharani's love, Radha Prema, Gopi Prema. So I'm saying, why we've taken bath once or twice, most of us at least. Why are we not coated with that golden Sringar Rati, or that love of the gopis? And because those 3 qualifications we have to have. Does anyone know what they are?
Nirapradi.
We have to be near aparadi. That means we should be near aparads. Aparads should be very near to us. N-E-A-R. In English, N-E-A-R. Yeah, I'm very near aparads. But it's supposed to, N-I-R means devoid of, without of, no, free from aparads. So we should be aparad free. The basic aparad. I mean, ultimately, Madhurya Kanavani is saying that the scent of aparad, or the scent of desire, or anarthas, it lingers on to bhava. And it's there, Madhurya Kanavani, it's there in a fragrance, and fragrance can also become, attract one. A fragrance, you can smell something and not necessarily, and be accepted or not, because the fragrance is not so powerful. You smell something, oh, I don't want it. The fragrance can also cause a fall, but generally not. But seeing something, or seeing or touching, is very powerful, dangerous. And hearing, like hearing ankle bells, Vishmrita Muni heard, and then that shabda awakened so many files, so many hearing files in his chitta. He had sanskars who were enjoying women because he was a king before, and then he became a Tapabalam Rishi, Vishmrita Muni. So that hearing is so powerful. Hearing is the most powerful sense. When we're sleeping, the nose doesn't wake us up. We don't have an alarm clock that gives up pizza fragrance. The alarm clock gives up a fragrance. Oh, we smell, boiling milk and wake up in the morning. So the sound of the alarm clock takes us out of unconsciousness, or puts us into unconsciousness. Listen to the sound of my voice. You're feeling very sleepy. So the hypnotist uses sound to put you make you unconscious. So the sound is powerful. So the thing is, we have to be free from aparad, niraparadi, to get the benefit. Taking egg bar snan, you take one bath in Radha Kunda, you get gopi prem like the gopis. It says in Radha Kundastikam by Raghunath Das Goswami. He tells specifically what type of prem you get. Here it says, Mahaprabhu is saying, Radha Sama Prema Krishna Kari Dhan, that Krishna gives his charity. One must be free from aparad, and one must have shraddha, faith. Faith in what Lord Chaitanya is saying. And it must be faith backed with sharanagati. There's shraddha, and then there's sharanagati. Yes, I believe in God. Well, why don't you surrender to God? No, that's a little too far. I believe in God. Why don't you surrender to Him and become His devotee and worship Him and bow down to Him? No, He's there for me. I believe in God. I have faith. He's there. I'm here. I know He's with me. I know He's with me. Many Indians say this. I feel God is with me. Yeah, He's with the dog also. He's in the heart of everyone. So we must have this shraddha that I believe in what the Lord is saying, or what Shukadeva is saying, and I surrender to what He's saying, and I follow it. So when Shukadeva Goswami says that Ridrogam Kamam Achirena Virunati, he says that the heart will become purified by hearing Rasa Lila. Prema will come in the heart. Param Bhakti Pratilabhyate. He said that first is Param Bhakti, this Gopi Prem, Braja Prem Pratilabhyate, that one will step by step attain this. He will gain this, he will acquire this by reading Rasa Lila with faith. Shradanvita, Anushinayat, Shinayat, Shravan, if he hears with Shradanvita, very fixed and pointed faith backed by Sharanagati. Because Shraddha and Sharanagati are the 2 feet which Bhakti stands on. In Bhakti we progress in devotion based on the depth of our faith and our surrender. If there's faith and no Sharanagati, then there's not much Bhakti. If there's Shraddha and Sharanagati, then Bhakti improves. So this point is there, we have to have Shraddha. We believe what Lord Chaitanya is saying. We believe what Shukadeva Goswami is saying. So Shraddha, then Niraparadi, what's the third thing? Icha. We must have, like we say, Ananya Bhakti, we must have Ek Icha. We must really desire this. And so this combination of 3 factors, when does it appear in one? At what stage of devotion? Ultimately, that would be the fullest expression of these 3 things, of Shraddha and freedom from aparad, etc. But if you think of this one where it says that Icha, then it becomes Ruchi. Because when one has so much attraction to Krishna, and he has attraction to Krishna, and he's attachment to Krishna, not developed to the level of Asakti. Something happening? Or? No. I can't see. So, if someone has he has attraction to Krishna and attachment, because it's not that we're in Nishtha or Anartha Nivriti, we're doing bhajan and going through Anartha Nivriti. It's not that we have attraction, and there's also some asakti, something, and there's also some prem, because bhakti, when we get a nishya, then bhakti is manifests in our heart from the mantra, from the blessings, from the ashirvada of the Guru and Acharya. It awakens in the heart. So bhakti means a drop of the prem. It's like a molecule of a ray. And bhava is considered a prem ankur, the sprout, or bhava is like a ray. It's called prem kiran. It's a ray from the full sun of prem. Bhava is like a ray from the sun of prem. So now, this state where one will become niraparadi, free from most aparads, and have sufficient shraddha, then actually have this desire that I really want this, I really want to have this and nothing other than this. That will happen in ruchi, at the state of ruchi. Because in ruchi, one's desires are so much purified, because he's gone through all the gross desires, and because Prabhupada is gone by this time. One is chanting Namavas by the time he comes to Ruchi Namavas. So Prabhupada is gone, and his desires are very much fixed, so that's why Lord Chaitanya is saying Nadanana Janana Sundaram Kadakamba Jagadeesha Kamaye. That his Ruchi is there, because already he developed Ruchi for Krishna, he developed attraction for Krishna, and he developed attachment for Krishna from a distance. He developed attraction for Krishna and attachment to Krishna and taste for Krishna from a distance of his name, just his name. That's Nishta. Nishta. Trinada peace and Ichina, Turi Vasihishna, Amanina, Amanidina, Kirtaniya Sadahavi. So this, he has attachment to the name, so he's Sadahavi. And he has attraction. And he has some taste, Ruchi. So that's Nishta. So now, while he's doing that with the name, then the name is purifying Viranati Sritsatam. It's purifying his heart of all his other desires. Nishta is so much washing going on. It's a heavy washing program. Many cycles, wash cycles are going on. Lust is going around in the tumbler, and greed is going around in the tumbler, the washing machine. Shrinvatam Swa Kata Krishna. When one hears the Hari Kata, how much Hari Kata is in the Mahamantra? How much Hari Kata? It is Radha and Krishna together. Hari Kata is a glorifying Radha. Mahamantra is Krishna glorifying Radha, Radha glorifying Krishna. Hey Hari, Hey Hare, Hey Krishna. It's Krishna glorifying Radha, Radha glorifying Krishna. How much Hari Kata just in the Mahamantra? This is also Hari Kata. So then the mantra purifies one. So when one comes to Ruchi, then when he bathes, then something can happen. Because he's qualified, he's niraparadi, he has shraddha, and his desire is refined. So by repeatedly bathing is padasevanam, it's archanam, it's worshipping Radharani, it's padasevanam, bathing in Radha Kunda. Raghunath Das Goswami is bathing 3 times a day in Radha Kunda. He's a Rati Mandri, Tulsi Mandri. He was bathing in his Siddhadeya in the Leela at one time, because in Madhyan Leela he's bathing. But then he's in his Siddhas Sharir as Tulsi Mandri, assisting in the pastimes of Madhyan Leela, Shamakun, Manasi Gangi, Manasapavan Ghat at Shamakun. Radharani comes and bathes, and she goes there to Radhakund for Jalkali and so many pastimes. But in the early morning, Das Goswami is bathing in the evening, as in his sadhaka route, to show the example for the sadhakas. The next verse, this is the prayer. There's 2 more prayers of Lord Chaitanya, glorification of Radha Kunda. Kundera Madhuri Yena Radhara Madhurima, Kundera Mahima Yena Radhara Mahima. This verse was the basis of, there's one book called Radha Kunda Mahima Madhuri, and it was based on this verse. Kundera Madhuri Yena Radhara Madhurima, Kundera Mahima Yena Radhara Mahima. The attraction of Radha Kunda, the Madhuri, the attraction of Radha Kunda is as sweet as that of Srimati Radharani. Similarly, the glories of Radha Kunda are as great as Srimati Radharani's. Who's speaking this verse?
Krishna.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discovers Radha Kunda. He is Radha and Krishna combined. So it's Krishna and Radharani speaking. But he's saying that Kundera Madhuri, Madhurima, this Kund is Radha Kunda. That's why Vrishvasis, they're like the boatman. I just row my boat across the Ganga. I don't know so much Tattva. I don't know so many things. I just know Govinda Damo Daramadaveti in Rosa's boat. So you ask the Brajvasis, oh, you can tell me about Radha Kunda. Radha Kunda? What's Radha Kunda? And you hear Radha. Oh, Radharani. They'll just say, this is Radharani. Radharani is here. So they already know all this, that yes, Radha Kunda is sweet, yes, Radha Kunda is Madhuri, and yes, Radharani is sweet, yes, Radharani is sweet, and Madhuri Radha. We know, Madhuri Radha. And this is Radha, there's no difference. What is your problem? No, this is Radha Kunda, and that's Varsana, and Radha is born in rubble, and yet like this. So the attraction, the sweetness, it says, Kundara Madhuri, Jena Radhara Madhurima. The sweetness of Radha Kunda is the same as the sweetness of Radha. And then it says, Kundara Mahima, Radhara Mahima. Radha is great, Radha Kunda is great. Radha is sweet, Radha Kunda is sweet. So this, we only open our eyes and ears to this. So we're fixed in Radha Kunda. It's like the members of Radharani's party, her Sakhigan, they're with Radharani. And they see Padma Shaibya Chandravali. No interest, no attraction. They'll never glorify her or anything. Rather speak the other way around. So like there's different devotees live in different dhams, in different places, and that dham is everything for them. And that's their perfection. And we respect that. We respect, well, you have your perfection there, you have your dham there, you have everything. But one who lives, breathes, talks, desires, meditates, aspires for, hankers for, worships, one place, that's doing bhajan and a lila stali. You go to one lila stali and you do bhajan there. Ter Kadamba, Chakaleshwara, Kadamba Gandhi. And this is the tradition. And may wander here and there for different purposes. But generally we see Rupa Goswami, they would stay, Rupa Goswami stayed in Sevakunj to teach Jiva Goswami and to hold classes there for others. But later on he spent so much of his time in Terakadamba. And this would be his favorite place. So these are so much encouraging for us, the glorification. So first, Mahaprabhu is telling the identity of Radharani. This Radha Kunda, he's saying of his prayers, reviewing his prayers. He says, of all the gopis, Radharani is dearmost. And similarly, Radha Kunda is very dear to the Lord, because Radha Kunda is dear to Radharani. Radha Kunda is dear to Krishna and dear to Radharani. And as Radharani is the dearest gopi, and this Kunda is so important to her, and Krishna's dearest gopi is Radharani, and this is Krishna's dearest Kund. You can also say this. There's Pavan Sarovar and so many Kunds everywhere around, in every place there's so many Kunds and Sarovars. But the dearest one is here. Who can argue that? This is Radha Kund. Then Mahaprabhu says, as Radharani is most dear to Krishna, so her lake is very dear to Krishna. So if someone's living at Radha Kunda, will they become dear to Krishna? They can become very dear to Krishna if they treat... Because many people live at Radha Kunda, Brajvasis, and they're all very dear to Krishna. And that's why people come from outside to be here with these Brajvasis, to get their mercy, to get their blessings, to get their glances, their favor. So Harda Kripa. In the nectar, the Bhakti-Rasamrita Sindhu was saying one can get Kripa Siddhi. Sadhana Siddhi is a general way. By doing Bhadi Sadhana, we can get Sadhana Siddhi and Vaikuntha Prem, Vaikuntha Bhav. By following Raganuga Marg with Anuragi Vaishnava, Raganuga Sadhana, then we can attain Sadhana Siddhi and Gopi Bhav and Vrindavan, Vrajagoku. And that rare instance someone can get Kripa Siddhi without even doing any particular sadhana. There must be achar, it can't be just Jagai and Madai. Jagai and Madai, they didn't do anything. You could say that they got Kripa Siddhi. But they did one thing. So they did something. They had they had achar. So I'm saying, maybe you don't do any sadhana, but you have to have achar. It means behavior. So their behavior was, they didn't offend any Vaishnavas. This specific point is made in Chaitanya Bhagavat. This is a big thing in Kali Yuga. Because in Kali Yuga people are so proud and so envious. Everyone is so proud in Kali Yuga. Everybody, whether he's a Bangi, especially in Vrindavan, whether you're a Bangi or a Brahmin or a Bani or anything in between, is it, oh, I'm great. This is the general outlook. They say, when we were young, we heard a phrase from Shakespeare. He said, the pauper is proud of his penny, his pence. The pauper means the poor man is proud of a penny. He has a penny. The drunk on the street, he doesn't have a penny. I have a penny. I'm very good. So this pride is this is damba. Damba, this is a quality of the demons in the 16th chapter of Gita, Bhagavad Gita. Damba, this darpa, damba, proud. So everyone has so much pride. That's why Lord Chaitanya, he attacks it. Lord Chaitanya attacks the root of Kali. Kali is full of demons. 70% of the people in Kali are demons. Today, right now. And will only increase more and more, day by day. There's a verse in 11th canto that says every day, anudinam. This anudinam is day after day, kripa, mercy, kindness, tolerance, compassion, strength, memory. Everything is diminishing, decreasing, decreasing, decreasing. So those are all saintly qualities, divine qualities. Daivi sampat, the wealth and opulence of the godly. Then there's asura sampat, and that's increasing more and more. So therefore this is like this age. So Lord Chaitanya attacks this damba, this pride. So he's saying that Radha Kunda is basically what's happening, as you can see, is Krishna is glorifying. Because when Krishna came here, Gauranga Mahaprabhu came here with Krishna and Radha Bhav and Kanti, and he discovered in the middle of the fields, he was not discovering, it was not Krishna and Radha Bhav, because Krishna wants to know what is Radha's pranaya mahima, the greatness of her love, what is the sweetness, the madhuri, and what is the happiness that she feels by serving me. So when he came here, he came to Vrindavan, and Vrindavan means Radharani, Vrindavaneshwari, Rajadi Peshi Radhike Namostate. So he went all around, he went all of Mathura, Mahavan, Talavan, Mahavan, Kamavan, everywhere. Where is Radharani? Radharani kaha? Where is Radharani? Krishna kaha? Because it's Krishna and Radha Bhav, so searching for Krishna. So then coming here, discovering Radha Kunda and Shamakunda is like discovering Radha and Krishna. So now, in these verses, it appears that although he's in Radha Bhav, the Krishna is glorifying Radharani, isn't it? So Lord Chaitanya is Radha and Krishna, but generally he wants to understand, what is Radharani's Mahabhav. That's the three purposes he came, all about Radha, Radha Pranaya Mahima, the glories of Radharani's love. Well, here he's glorifying Radha Kunda. So this is Krishna glorifying Radha Kunda. Or he's just neutral. He says, Krishna gives, he's acting like a devotee. He's saying, Krishna gives, Lord Chaitanya is saying, indeed, Krishna gives ecstatic love like that of Srimati Radharani to whoever bathes in that lake even once in his life. That's what Lord Chaitanya is speaking of. He's saying, Krishna gives. So now who is he when he's speaking this verse? He's a devotee. He's giving a benediction. He's saying, I, Krishna, give. So now he's saying that this Kunda is so sweet. It's Madhurima. Madhurima. It's Madhuri and Madhurima. Radharani is Madhurima, and this is Madhuri. Now the last verse, then here he quotes a verse which is found in Govinda Lilamrita. So apparently, as Rupa Goswami, when he was at Rath Yatra with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited a prayer, some shloka from some love poem about, these are the beautiful Malayan sandalwood breezes from the Malayan hills of Chaitra Mas, and the beautiful wind is blowing, carrying sandalwood fragrance. And on my heart, and Lord Chaitanya is looking at Jagannath, Rajendrananda and Shyamsundar, and taking him to Gandhishri, to Vrindavan. Come with me, come to Vrindavan. and recites this seemingly a verse from a mundane love poem. He says, oh my beloved, you are the same lover, and I am the same beloved, and these are the same moonlit nights of Chaitra. My heart yearns to go back to the banks of the Revati river, under the Vetasi tree in the Vetasi Kunj. Please, you remember that. So this, of course, is a love poem. Rupa Goswami heard that from the Lord, and he understood the heart of the Lord, and Srup Damodar understood the heart of the Lord in Rai Ramananda. So then Rupa Goswami went back to Siddhabakul. He was staying there with Haridas Thakur and living there doing bhajan, because he wouldn't go in a temple because of his association with the Muslim government. And then he took one palm leaf from some palm tree they had there, whatever. He wrote one verse, Yak Kumara Kobita Shamatas, some very beautiful verse where he's there he talks about he's Radharani speaking in the mood about the Yamuna, about on the banks of the Yamuna under the Kadamba trees, Radharani calling to Krishna. And then Lord Chaitanya saw that verse was stuck, and Rupa Goswami wrote that in a palm leaf, and he stuck it in a thatched roof of Haridas Thakur's bhajan kuti instead of a cool. Lord Chaitanya came, one day he came with Govinda Das to give some Mahaprasad, Jagannath Mahaprasadam to Haridas Thakur and Rupa Goswami, and have their sangha, satsang, meet them, bless them, and be with them. And then automatically he looked up, hey, what's this? Oh, who's written this? And the handwriting was like a string of pearls, just so neat, clean Sanskrit. And then Haridas said, Shrupa has written that. How have you known my heart? Similarly, Mahaprabhu spoke this verse first, here, in the discovery of Radha Kunda. It came out of his heart, an effusion from his heart, an outpouring from his heart, from the Mahaprabhu, Krishna. And then later, when Radha Kunda was somewhat established, then on the banks of Shamakund, Krishna's Kaviraj came and he sat here. And he wrote Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Govinda Lilamrita he wrote somewhere, maybe in here in Vrindavan. It's not clear where he wrote. I would assume in Vrindavan. Because Nityananda ordered him to come here to Vrindavan and leave his house. It's not clear. You have to see the year of all that publishing. So this is a verse. It's like the sixth Goswami's prayer. Shira Deva Harestadiya Sarasi Preshtad Bhute Swarguner Yasyam Shri Utamada Vendur Anisham Pritya Taya Krirati Premasmin Patarari Keva Lavate Yasyam Satkrit Snanakrit Tasya vai mahima tata madurima kenastu varnya shito Madhavendor yasyam shiyukta Madhavendor anisham prityataya kriyati. Mahaprabhu said, because of its wonderful transcendental qualities, Radha Kunda is as dear to Madhav as Sri Radha. It was in Radha Kunda that the all-opulent Lord Sri Krishna performed his pastimes with Srimati Radharani with great pleasure and transcendental bliss. Whoever bathes just once in Radha Kunda attains Srimati Radharani's loving attraction for Sri Krishna, which is Gopi Bhav, Mahabhav. Who within this world can describe the glories and sweetness of Sri Radha Kunda? Tasya vai mahima tata madhurima. Mahima, the mahima madhurima kenastu varnya shito. On this earth, by whom can these these sweet glories be described. Snana krit, satkrit snana krit, satkrit snana krit tasya, radhika eva. So one obtains labhate. So Krishna's Kaviraj is saying this, Raghunath Das Goswami is saying this, Rupa Goswami Pad is saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying this, and Srila Prabhupada in his Upadeshamrita nectar instruction says 7 times in one purport one should bathe in Radha Kunda. It means, I would say, 3 things. Bathe in the waters of Radha Kunda, literally. Bathe in the rasas and tattva, the rasa tattvas, understanding the rasas and tattvas of the leelas that are going on here. And also bathe in the Leela Smaran. Bathe in the river of Leela Smaran. Bathe in remembrance. Bathe the mind in the constant remembrance of the Madhyan Leelas that are happening in Radha Kunda. These are the various types of bathes. To immerse our bodies in the sacred waters of Radha Kunda, our physical body, after doing puja and prikrama and puja and worship and stutis and stabas and prayers. Then to bathe our hearts in the bhavas and understandings and tattvas and rasas of the leelas of Radharani and Krishna, the gopi bhavas and rasas, and bathe our hearts in that understanding and moods of the gopis. And the third bath would be the mental bath, the mind, manasik snan it's called. The manasik snan. There's mantra snan, there's devata snan, there's nadi snan, samudra snan, there's many types of snan. Devata snan is to go out in the open air when the sun is shining, the sky is clear, the sky is blue, the sky is clear, and there's some rain falling, light rain falling. There may be a rainbow also. That's called Devata Snan, to bathe outside when the rain is falling on a clear day. It's a very, because they say Devas are taking birth at that time, it's called Devata Snan. A very clear sky, not dark sky of the monsoon season. It's not like, not just going out in the rain and taking a bath. Have you ever seen days like that? There's these, it seems like it's just raining where you're standing. And maybe very localized, maybe just here. That's Devata Snan. Then the ultimate Snan is Mantra Snan. So I'm saying Leela Smaran Snan, Manasik Snan by Leela Smaran of Madhyan Leela. I take this meaning of bath like this. Body, heart and mind in the prem-filled waters of Radha Kunda, and the memories of the Leelas, the Astakali Leela or Nitya Leelas of Radha Kunda, and the heart and intelligence and mind and understanding, and trying to understand the different exchanges of Ras and Bhav and Shrinkar Rati here at Radha Kunda. So this is another wonderful, this is the last prayer by Lord Chaitanya. This is such a nice prayer. Shri Radheva Hares Tadiya Sarasi Preshta Advite. Shrimati Radharani Hari Krishna Hari Tadiya. Her leg, it has its Adbhuta Guna. Preshta, this is the description. This Tadiya Sarasi. Tadiya means belong, Tadiya, you've heard of Madhya and Tadiya, belonging to her. That lake says, Sri Radha Hares Tadiya, Radharani's Sarasi, the Radha Kunda's Sarasi, is so dear to Krishna, Preshta Adbhuta Swarganar. And it has, what are the qualities, the guna of this lake? They're Adbhuta. They're amazing, they're wonderful. And Preshta, this lake is so dear. His own, and all its own qualities, Shriyuta opulent Madhavendu, like the moon incessantly. So this says here, Yasyam Shriyuta Madhavendur. So Madhava Indur, Indur means like a ray of the moon. Incessant, Prityataya Kridati. So as the moon is constantly, the moon, Madhava Indu. Madhava means, Madhava, as a name for Krishna, means the husband of the goddess of fortune. Madhava. This is one meaning. Madhava means the lover of Radharani, who gives all fortune in his life. The source of Krishna's fortune is the love he tastes in association with Radha. So Madhavindu, Krishna's like a moon. The moon is always shining, continually bathing the earth with his rays. So Madhava is continually, incessantly enjoying rays and beautiful moonlight pastimes here at Radha Kunda. Madhavindu, Pritya, Kridati. Kridati means performance pastimes. Pritya with his dear one, in association with Radharani, with great affection. So this is going on between Radha and Krishna, Madhavendu. Madhavendu and Sri Radha are incessantly, the moon is shining its rays all night long, so the pastimes of Radha Madhav are happening continually, so much beautiful loving pastimes. And you want to take part in that, or you want to attain a glimmer or a glimpse of that, or a ray of that bhav, then he says, then the next part of the verse he says, yes, Radhika Eva Lavate Satkrit Snanakrit. That just by one bath there, as I'm defining it, that one can attain. Because now, let's take it another way around. These 6 verses, Kaladesha Patra, they're spoken at a particular time. When? The time of discovery of Radha Kunda, where, of course, the Kshetra, Deshas, Rajabhumi, in Aritgram, and now he's talking about Sarasi, and he's using the word Kund. Before it's called Aritgram. The entire village, this whole village, there was no cognizance or awareness of Radha Kunda Shambhava. The whole area was called Arit. Arit was a derivative of Arishtagram. Now Lord Chaitanya is calling it Sarasi and Kund. Saras, it's with ras. Sara, rasa. He's calling it's full of ras, it's Sara, which means lake. And he's saying, Ye Kund, Ye Kund, Ye Kund. It's Madhuri Kund, Madhurima Kund, Radharani's Madhuri and Madhurima. So now it's known as Kund, it's Radha's Kund, it's her favorite lake. So the name Radha Kund began with Lord Chaitanya. The name Radha Kund has been given by Lord Chaitanya. Rasaraj Mahabhav have given the name Radha Kund. And the Vishnu Puran, where it talks about the appearance of Radha Kund, what did Krishna tell Radharani? When he made Radha Kund, and he bathed there and got free from his sins, and Radha in cooperation with Krishna and all the sacred tirthas and Radha Kund filled with Shamkund's lake. Then Krishna went there and bathed, and he said, I declare, Radharani, from this day forward, your Kund will be much more famous than mine. But it wasn't famous. 5,000 years ago, Krishna said it will be more famous than mine. But for 4,500 years, it was Lupta Tirtha. So the verse says, Tirtha Lupta Jani Prabhu Sarvagya Bhagavan. Sarvagya Bhagavan Garanga, who knows everything. He knows about what he said 5,000 years ago. Hey, 5,000 years ago I said this place will be more famous than your Kund will be more famous than my Kund. Now the place for 4,500 years has been famous as a village named after a demon. Like most of the villages are named after Leelas. Nandagram, Barsana, Gokul, or Madhuvan, and so then you have Aritagram, Aristagram. So then Krishna came with Lord Chaitanya. He said, no, this is not Aritagram. This is Radha Kund. So now, is this place famous as Aritagram or Aristagram? No. Do the Indian government, UP government, when they write signs, do they write 2 kilometers to Aritagram? They write Radha Kund. On the maps it says Radha Kund, Radha Kund, Radha Kund. Right? And people come here and they walk in, what's this? It's Radha Kund. Does anyone ever say Shamagan? What's that? What's that other body? That's Radha Kunda, Radha Kunda, Radha Kunda. So this whole arrangement was made by Lord Chaitanya. He revealed the secrets of Radha Kunda, the glories, the sweetness, the love, everything. And he gave it. This is the great wealth that Lord Chaitanya has given to the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. This is the one and only place that's undisputedly the crest jewel and prize and the treasury of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Because all over Vrindavan, Nimbarkis settled, the Nimbarki Sampradaya worship Radharani and Krishna and Sakhi Bhav, and they're doing their bhajan, attaining their goals and worshiping Radha Krishna with great devotion and intense love and Sakhi Bhav. And side by side there are so many Gaudiyas in Nandagram and Barsana and Gokul and Chandrasarovar, where all Nimbarkis are, Narada Kund, everywhere. But there's so many Gaudiyas there. But here in Radhakund is only Gaudiyas, only Gaudiya Vaishnava. And the Brijvasis are everywhere in every Leela Stali. They were here. Nimbar came 900 years ago. When he came here, the Brijvasis were here. Madhavendra Puri came 1200 years ago. When he came here, the Brijvasis were here. So the Brijvasis have been here a long time. But in terms of spiritual tirthas for a spiritual sampradaya, this is the place. In Vrindavan, so many Nimbarkis. Sriji Mandir, the center of the whole Braj Mandal, the whole Nimbark sampradaya is Sriji Mandir. Right across from the State Bank in the downtown by Lloyd Bazaar. Turn right and it's Sriji Mandir. That's where the Mahanta, the whole sampradaya sits when it comes. Sriji Mandir. You see him beautiful. So this is our place. Ematastuti kare prema vishtahana tire nritya kare kunda lilas sanariya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thus offered prayer stuti to Radhakund. Overwhelmed by ecstatic love, prema vishta, Mahaprabhu danced on the bank, remembering the pastimes Krishna performed on the banks of Radhakund. Tire nritya kare kunda lila sanariya. Sanariya means remembering the kunda lila sanariya. So he's doing everything you're supposed to do when you come to Radhakund. You're supposed to bathe in Radhakund. You're supposed to glorify Radhakund. You're supposed to dance at Radhakund. And you're supposed to remember Kunda Lila Smaran. You're supposed to remember the pastimes. So he did it all. His Manasa Seva and Smaran and doing his Seva with his form. His form is taking snan. We say Kaya Manavakya. Kaya Manavakya. Body, mind and words. His body is bathing in Radhakund in the middle of the fields, in the rice paddies. His word, his mouth, Vakya, Mahima, the stutis and glorification, Radhakund, 6 beautiful prayers, 2 in Sanskrit and 4 in Bengali. And then in mind, he's engaging, and then he's becoming Tanmaya to Leelas, because we said there's Ras Leela. There's Ras Leela on the banks of Radhakund. And so he's dancing Nritya. We don't know when he came, maybe it was nighttime by the time his ecstasies wore off. But he's dancing on the banks. So we're also dancing on the banks of Radhakund. You've heard of Harinam Sankirtan? So were you thinking that Lord Chaitanya is dancing on the banks of Radhakund when he discovered it? And the Radha and Krishna are dancing on the banks of Radhakund and the Ras Leela in the evening time. Kundera Mritika Lana Tilaka Karila Bhattacharya Dwara Mritikat Sange Kare Laila. This is the last verse of the discovery of Radhakund. Mahaprabhu then marked his body with Radhakund Tilak from the mud of Radhakund, and with the help of his Brahmin associate Balabhadra Bhattacharya, he collected some of the Radhakund Tilak and took it with him. Radhakund Tilak ki jai. So this is the origin of Radhakund. Kundera Mritika Lana Tilaka Karila Bhattacharya Dwara Mritika Sange Kari Laila. So Lana Tilaka Karila Sange Kari Mritika Sange Karila Laila. So Mahaprabhu marked it on his forehead and body, 12 places, and he gave some to Bhattacharya, told him to take it with him. So this is the conclusion of the story. Mahaprabhu discovers Radha Kunda, and tomorrow, by the grace of Krishna's Kaviraj and Guru Padma and Parampara, we hear about the Leelas of Lord Chaitanya with Hari Dev and Gopal Nath Ji. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki
Jai.